was the question? Cindy going to class or are you staying here? Is that you? Okay. Have fun. What'd she say? Have a good message. That's good. Alrighty, let's sing, okay? Page 34. He keeps me singing. I want everyone to sing and join me on this. If you know the song, if you don't know the song, you get the page of it and you can look out and learn it. Someone said that they keep singing new songs, but then you learn them all, okay? There's a whole bunch of songs in here, Charlie. We can learn every one of them, all right? There's within my heart a melody. Jesus whispers sweet and low. Fear not, I am with thee, peace be still. In all of life's ebb and flow. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know. Fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go. All my life was wrecked by sin and strife. Discord filled my heart with pain. Jesus swept across the broken strings, stirred the slumbering chords again. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know. Fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go. Last verse. Soon he's coming back to welcome me, far beyond the starry sky. I shall wing my flight to worlds unknown. I shall reign with him on high. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know. Fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go. Thank you. Have a seat. Glad to have a visitor with us tonight. Yes, different. One time I shaved and Rebecca next morning she said, "Put it back." All right, then we got a prayer request. Chris Schaefer's asked for prayer a week or so ago. A couple in his church had COVID-19, and the man passed away, 72 years old, if I remember right. And the man in his church passed away, so pray for that family. Pray for the other families that suffered loss this week. And it's hitting more younger children now, small children, a 21-month-old child, a 25-year-old young man from Logan County passed away this week. Keep those families in prayer. Anybody else? Keep the church family, Bruce, Patty, Tracy. Keep them in prayer. Charlie leads the prayer. All right, we're glad you're with us tonight. Anybody have testimony before we get into this? We're in the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 3. If you got testimony, you smile real big about something. Is this ringing? I can hear it up here. That's good. I'm glad I can hear it. All right, Daniel chapter 3. We went through the story last week. I'm going to review just a little bit of the story, but there's one subject that I want to look at tonight. I hit on it just for a moment last week, but I really want to get to this tonight. Daniel chapter 3, look at verse 12. Okay, there was a certain there are certain Jews. This is when Nebuchadnezzar made a statue, 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide, and golden image, and everyone's supposed to bow down and worship. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego do not bow down and worship. There's a certain Jews. Those are the Chaldeans are complaining to Nebuchadnezzar about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego not bowing down. I don't know where Daniel's at in this chapter, but he doesn't have to bow, or he's not there at all. There are certain Jews who now have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar spake and said to them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? He's giving them an opportunity here, which I like this idea because he knows who they are. Okay, they're friends of Daniel, and they're already over the province of Babylon. They're over this. They're like over the county or city, over the ruling of the laws. Okay. Now, if you're ready, what time you hear the sound of the music, stop right there. Let's go ahead and read it. If you're ready at the time when you hear the sound of the music, cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, all kinds of music, you should fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if you worship not, you should be cast that at the same hour in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? You can't get out of this. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve was able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he would deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So we know the story. Everybody here knows the story that they refused to bow down, and they were cast in the burning fiery furnace. And while they're in there in the burning fire furnace, Nebuchadnezzar looks into the fire, and he sees 4 men walking in the fire. We kind of touched on this last week. The fourth man he says, I see the fourth man like him to the Son of God. So he knows it's Jesus. So even though he doesn't know who Jesus is, okay, but he knows there's someone's in there with them, and he knows who it is. There's a lot of great truths that's in this chapter that some of we hit on last week, but there's one thing that I want to hit on tonight, which is it is one of the top priorities of Christian life. Okay, and it's not we don't see it this way most times, but I want to read it. Look at verse 19. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and from his visage he changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Look at verse 20. He commanded sent most mighty men of his army to divine Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Look at verse 22, last part of verse. And he slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 23. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And again, verse 26, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 26, then at the end of it, then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 28, then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Look down verse 29. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. What do we say? What do we say is a common theme in all those verses we just read? What's the common theme, Jared? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Yeah, he went system and he still figured it out. How about that? Okay. Okay. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I like this. You know why do I read over this like this? Because you never read it one without the other two. Okay? Who's somebody else in this story? In the book of Daniel, there's somebody else, a child of God we read about. We read about Daniel, but you don't always read about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego with Daniel. You read about Daniel by himself most often. There are people that are standing out by themselves. You're almost always alone. When you read about Moses, until the time that he came back to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt, he's almost always alone. And you read about David, he spent his childhood on the pasture on the hillside with his sheep. We killed the lion or the bear. He was by himself. We killed Goliath. He was basically by himself. Everybody else was watching him. Okay, and a lot of David's life. You read this when you read about Joseph. And Joseph for 20 years had no family support whatsoever, and the family he had, that when he was 17 years old, they sold him into slavery. Right? I mean, his brothers wanted to kill him, and one of them talked him out of it, so they didn't kill him. They sold him into slavery. But when you read about Joseph, you read about him being alone, standing alone. You read about Daniel. couple of chapters over, we're going to read about Daniel being thrown in the lion's den. Daniel prays alone. He goes by himself alone. There's other times, back in chapter 2, where Daniel went to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and had a prayer meeting together, which is good. But so there are people that are always, they stand out. I mean, no matter who's around them, what they do, they're by themselves. They stand out by themselves. You know, people like this, people that work with these people. I know there's people that work alone. They don't need anybody else. They love everybody else, but they don't need to be around people. We watched Denise Brophy sent us a video yesterday to watch. Did you all watch a preacher message last night? I think Tim sent to Rebecca. We watched the message last night just to watch the message because we heard this. I've heard this preacher before, but she just sent this to us to watch, and so we watched this YouTube video of this preacher that we know, that we've heard of for 35 years. I've heard of him. I've only got to hear him preach a couple times. R.B. Willett. And in thinking about it, I don't know that in his lifetime that he had people that were around him all the time. Okay, he was in a city he went to a city by himself to pastor church. Okay, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are always together. Read about Jonah in the whale's belly. Anybody with Jonah? Nope. He's by himself. Okay? Daniel in the lion's den, he's by himself. I don't promote the idea of a herd mentality that we always have to have somebody around us, because a lot of times when you take a stand for something, you have to stand by yourself. Or the herd mentality of I don't want to promote the idea of trying to find somebody that is like you that will stand with you. Okay, but the truth is, if you stand, other people will stand. In my lifetime, there's always been other people around me, and I've talked about this with others through the years. Okay, each one of us is supposed to be that person, not to look for that person they can stand beside, but just to be that person. That for most of us, it is our spouse, and for a lot of us, it is somebody else in the church or somebody else that we always stand with, or always seem to stand with. From the time I was 19 years old till just a few years ago, Preacher Dave was always a person that was standing beside me, or I was standing beside him, besides Becky and Tammy. But there was always there's a camaraderie that we had there for over 30 years, I guess. And Preacher noticed this too, because there was people in our lives that we would mention, whether it was other preachers or pastors, or whether it was other just Christians in our church, that he would make note of people that you knew you could depend on. They're always going to stand for what's right. They're always going to be there when they're supposed to be there. Matter of fact, when we first started church, I questioned Dave about this, because when we started, there was about 20 people in the church. I didn't know any of them other than Dave, Becky, and their kids. I didn't know anybody else in the church when we got here, when we started. And so I asked about different people through the church as we started. And one person in particular, I said, "What about this guy?" He said, "If he says he's behind you, he's behind you. You never have to turn around and look." And I thought that's a pretty good statement about for that man, for Preacher to say that about him. There's also a good statement for Preacher to say that he would know that about that person. Okay, so what do you call somebody who stands beside you all the time? Spouse. What do you call somebody who stands beside you all the time? Friend. Is that right? That's always there when you come. When in my lifetime, there's been people come up to me and said something to me about always being where I'm supposed to be. When Hardin passed away, Randy, his son, Randy came to me after the service. He said, you watch Westerns? I said, "Sure, I'll watch Westerns." He said, "You ever seen Tombstone?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Last scene, Wyatt Earp said to Doc, 'Thanks for always being there, Doc.'" And Randy said that to me, and I thought going back to being a teenager. And if he walked in the door right now, I'd give him a hug. Okay? And then we do this 5-thing handshake thing that we worked on for 20 years. Okay? But the truth is, it's just the idea of he looked at me as being the person that was always standing beside him whenever he needed something, and I was just always there for him. Okay? I like that idea. Someone else looks at me that way. But the truth is, we're supposed to be that. And one of the greatest words in the English language is friend. Okay? Now, y'all, anybody agree with me on this? The greatest word, it's the second greatest word. What's the greatest word in the English language? Buffet. Okay, that's all right. Not during the coronavirus. I wouldn't go in if it's open because everyone else might be sick. Okay, but one of the greatest words in the English language is friend. Okay, so let's look a couple verses in Proverbs. Listen to this in Proverbs 17:17. A friend loveth at all times, and the brother's born for adversity. A friend loveth at all times. You have somebody that's your friend when everything's going well, and you're not your friend when they don't show up whenever you have a problem, they're not there. Okay, I've had friends like that. Okay, brothers born for adversity. Proverbs 18 verse 24 says, there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Okay, um, there's I don't know about everybody in this room, because I don't know everyone's family history, but I know that there's some people in the room that you would think, and I would say this too, that I've had friends in my lifetime that are closer to me than my family is. Even though I love my family, my brothers and sisters, brother and sisters, there's been other people in my lifetime that have always been closer to me than me and my brother. We're the same size, we wear the same shoes, same shirt, having everything. There's a lot of similarities. But we're not that close, okay? And there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. And in my lifetime, I've had several friends that are closer to me or better to me than brothers, okay? But all three stood when the king said they're supposed to bow, okay? So I've had this statement that I read 30 years ago, stuck with me, and I've said it, I've repeated it 1,000 times since. Dependability is the greatest ability in all the world, okay? The Bible talks about some people they're like a bruised reed, like a walking stick. If you try to put your weight on it, it's going to break. It's going to go into your hand. If you try to use something to hold you up, they're going to break under any kind of pressure. Okay, some of our friends are that way. Some of your friends, my boss at Lee Graphics, since David Lee has since gone to heaven. We traveled a lot together for work, and while we were traveling, we talked about different things. He talked about his certain friendships, great friends that he played a lot of sports in high school. And he was a paratrooper in the Army, different things, and he talked about friendships that he had that he thought when he grew up in Logan County. Some of his friends as a child, from his childhood all through high school, that he would be friends with these people for life. And most of them we never saw again. Okay, when he left the county, he never saw those people, had much contact with them. Some of them we knew through business, we still do business with today. But then there's other people in the Army, the paratroopers in the Army, that he thought we were friends for life. You never see them again. Okay, and there's some people you think, I can always depend on that person. You turn around and look, and they're gone. I gave this illustration. I can't remember if I did this last Wednesday night, maybe in the church. I can't remember. But Stan Harris, I think I said it last Wednesday night in church, that we took a advanced homily. She had to go in the bar and preach. And Stan Harris went in, a couple of preacher boys with him, and they didn't know it was a gangbanger bar when they went in. But several guys went to jump up and fight. He turned and looked, and everybody else was gone. The guys that went in with him, the preacher boys, his friends from Bible college, when he turned around, they're all gone. Okay. Dependability is the greatest ability in all the world. That means that when someone knocks on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning, this has happened to us. 2 o'clock in the morning, someone needs help. Okay? 5 o'clock in the morning, someone's needing help. Okay? A call that comes in at midnight. Okay? Everybody got a call from a friend at midnight. You gotta get out there and do something. Okay? I'm the only one. Why do they call me? I don't know. Okay. A couple parts of this lesson. First is, don't look for that person. Don't look for someone else to be that person. Be that person. One of the most valuable lessons you can learn in your life is that if you'll learn to be that person, everybody will depend on you. Okay? Now, I was listening to something today, a preacher on the radio, he said, he talked about people being under stress today. Sometimes we've got to learn how to say no to people like the knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. I could have walked out and said, no, I ain't going to do anything for you. No, go away. I didn't, but I couldn't. Okay. Sometimes we got to learn how to say no, but most often people in this room, the people listening to this at home, ought to be the person everyone knows that they can depend on, right? Here's the next thing. I mentioned this with Charles, with preacher. Learn how to see this in other people, okay? Because a lot of people take the person that's next to them, spouse, friend, whatever, just take them for granted that they're there, okay? I don't think we've done that. In my lifetime, I've tried not to do this. And this goes, in my thinking, this goes back to even before I got saved. When I was in high school, I worked with, went to school with 600 kids at Charleston High School, whatever. But at one point, I worked in a restaurant. And those kids I worked with, boys I worked with in the restaurant with, were 15, 16 years old. We're all working in the restaurant together. And then when I changed jobs, it's almost like I started working at Big Star at the grocery store. And when I'd get off work, I'd run around with the guys that I worked with. Some of them went to Charleston High with me. Some of them went to Stonewall or Hoover, different schools. But we all still just 16, 17 years old. So I ended up kind of running around with different groups. And one of the guys that I worked with at the restaurant, and I never even thought of this. I was home at school. I was talking to him, and we were going to Charleston Charlie's baseball game or something. We were going back at Walpole Park. I don't even remember that. Okay, it closed down before you were born. Anyway, I said something. You gonna go to the ball game tonight? He was like, "And you didn't talk to me in a year." Really? I had no idea. It's like. And his response to me was, "You haven't spoken to me," and I had no idea. So after I got saved, I thought about the fact that I don't want to take people in my life for granted. Y'all with me on this? Your family, friends, neighbor, whatever, person that used to be your friend, and like you don't see him anymore. But if you have an opportunity to rekindle that as much as you can. Because you don't know when that person's A, needing you to be the dependable person, or B, could be the Shadrach standing beside you next time you need somebody to stand beside you. Y'all work on that. You never know. You don't know who that person is. Jared worked with a guy last year that used to ride the bus with me and Tammy when he was a kid. Okay, to ride church bus, and you have no idea how your influence, your stability, can influence somebody else. Okay? Any questions on that? You see these people? If I ask you right now, who's your best friend, who would you say? Jared, who would you say? Who's your best friend? That's it. Okay, Charlie? Say Chuck right now. She said so. You say, who's your best friend? Yeah. It's supposed to be that way. But then outside that, you say, ask Courtney. I don't say anything about Courtney. But outside that, is there somebody that you can depend on? That's always got your back. Okay? And I can go through illustration after illustration of people in my life that just showed up when I needed them to show up. David Underwood's been one of those people that just showed up at my barn when I was needing help. I need a third hand, and here's hey, or one of the guys up the holler. I was in my barn working on something, and I just heard someone. I heard a truck stop, which I didn't know if they're just pulling in because someone's passing at our barn, and someone said, "Hey, Johnny," and they're wanting to help me or wanting to give me something. And in my lifetime, I could say that I've been surrounded by people that always stand for what's right or always stand beside me when I need somebody. Okay? We've had family members that have called from out of state and say, "You need anything? I was thinking about you today. Can I buy you something?" Brother John, I don't have any family members like that. Jared doesn't either. Because he gave it to me. Okay? But you think, no, I've never had anybody do that. Okay? I'm not asking you to look for those people. I'm asking you to be that person. And then once you find out you are that person, you become that person, then there's other people that will come stand beside you for your life. I think they had me. Preacher called me. When Preacher and Becky were living in the house up here behind the church, they were building their house, buying the property to build a house on up River Road. But they were living in the house that with missionaries that stayed there for a while and different things, and we bought that house. And he called me one day, He said, come out the house. I said, okay. So I come out. And he handed me his bow. Okay? It's a power bag, very expensive bow. Um, he said, I want you to have this. It's okay. It's like David and Jonathan. Jonathan gave his bow to David. But anyway, he handed me his bow, and I said, what's wrong with it? He said, nothing wrong with it. I just want you to have this. Okay? He wouldn't buy a new one. He had to give his other one away, so he gave it to me. So glad. He said, it's getting too hard for me to pull back. It's got adjustments on it. It's 72 pounds of pressure to pull that thing back. And so he said, so you can adjust it down. He said, no, I want a new one. I just want you to. He said, I just want you to have this. He called me one day. He had a Jeep Cherokee, little boxy kind of Jeep Grand Cherokee. I think so it was Jeep Cherokee. And he called me one day. He said, come out the house. I said, okay, and just to give it to me. Okay. Did you ever ride that thing, Charlie? Going hunting out the okay. Joe Gooch said Bub had that thing 15 feet off the ground one time, hitting the big hump up the middle of the field. Anyway, the springs were broke. It cost $600 to make it legal. But it was just for me to get past inspection. Anyway, but he said, I just want to give you this. Okay? I have not had anybody give me anything like that. We have. And we've been also the person that see a need, give it away. Last Sunday night, I mentioned something from the pulpit about, Rebecca had prayer requests for Barb Walker. Okay. And I just mentioned that the Walkers aren't, they're in evangelism and not going to have any income because all the evangelistic ministries are shut down. They can't have gatherings at churches. So Dave Casdorf texted me today with a list of people he wants to send money to. Out of church finances. We got money for it. He said, let's do this. You know what? Dave Casdorf's one of those people that's always standing beside you. From the time we started this church, he's always been one of the persons that stands beside you and then says, here's the need. Okay? Or if you mention a need, he says, let's fill that need. Or the church can fill that need. Or let's just fill the need. Let's just take care of it. Okay? There's other people in this church. When Clarence and his family were putting the siding on the church and putting the roof on and all that stuff, we had in a business meeting, we had agreed price that we were going to pay them, which was more than what they normally were paid for the work that they did. And someone else came to me, and because we had a set upon price. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was. Let's say a set upon price, we was going to give them $5,000 because it's going to be a month's worth of work, and that was more than what more than what Jake said Clarence usually got for a month's work. So we took up an offering of just a little over $5,000, and then someone else came to me in the church. It's homecoming Sunday, and they said, "How much was the offering?" Because they came to me beforehand, let me know they wanted to do this, and I told them. And they said, "Let's do this," and they bumped it. Say the offer was just over $5,000. They wanted to bump it up to $10,000. Why? Because he needed it. Clarence needed it, and his family well deserved it because it would have cost $100,000 for somebody else to do. And if we hired contractors to do this, it would cost a whole lot more. And so it's just we've been surrounded. And Charlie, you've been here for 25 years, and you guys have been here long enough to understand this. In this ministry, we've been surrounded by people that always stand beside you. Okay, I'm tickled to death. I never want to take anybody for granted, and say, "Oh, I missed that." Okay. So who's the closest to you? Who's your best friend? We said spouse, children, most of us. But after your friends are gone, your spouse, your family's still there. If you'll be the man or the lady you're supposed to be, then everybody else will know that you will stand, and you will see who they become. How many want your children to grow up to be the person that everyone depends on? You want that? You want that for your kids and for Josiah? For those of you at home, you want your kids, and I know this about a lot of our older adults whose kids are well established in life, we'll put it that way now. So our friends who are in their 60s or 70s and their kids are grown, your all's age, if they stood for what's right and were always in the right place, doing Mr. Dependability or whatever, then you see that in their kids a lot of times. Okay? Okay. Let's look at the results of this. Because this boggles my mind. It doesn't guarantee you you're going to have this, but this boggles my mind sometimes when I see the end results of somebody that does right all the time. Okay? We read the verse, a couple verses, verse 28, chapter 3, verse 28. We'll read 2 verses. Okay? Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Here's the first thing. Nebuchadnezzar is going to, in our terminology, is going to get saved. Okay? He is not yet. Daniel had a big influence. Back up chapter 2, verse 47. The king answered to Daniel and said, Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets. Seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. He said, Your God is something special. That he's a God of gods. That he's different than the rest of the gods, but there's something about him. But in this, a chapter later, the next story over, and Nebuchadnezzar's been around Daniel long enough, and has been around Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, even if it's just for a couple hours' time at this point. He said to Nebuchadnezzar spake and says, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what he's done. Okay? Now, first of all, if you'll stand for what's right all the time, you'll have a greater opportunity to witness. Because God's always working on Nebuchadnezzar's heart. Maybe your boss, maybe your neighbor, maybe somebody else. If you'll be the person that always stands for what's right, then other people will see that, okay? And other people will get saved as a result. Or they'll be thinking about, you serve God this way, and I think I've had lost people tell me, I think I'm serving God, but I think they're lost. They're serving the God of their mind, little g God. They think they're doing the right thing, but if they look and see us doing something different, then they might question and say, their God's real. Our God is just a little g God, like a little statue, okay, that we bow down to or image of worship. That's what Nebuchadnezzar's doing. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, so you always have more dependable and faithful you are, the more opportunity you have with witness. Okay, put it that way. Or the cleaner you are, God can use a cleaner vessel. Okay, look at verse 30. Same chapter 3, verse 30. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Just like Daniel was promoted, just like Joseph was promoted, just like almost everybody else. Well, John, do you always come out on top if you do what's right? Yeah, John the Baptist came out on top of the platter. So it doesn't always go exactly as you think it would go. It doesn't always. We went through that part. When we looked at the verse where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, "Our God is able to deliver us, but if not," okay, back over in verse 17, 18. But if not, if he doesn't deliver us, we'll be playing tag with the angels. It doesn't matter anyway. Okay? So if we burn up in the fire, that's fine too. Okay. But most often, and some people make a whole doctrine out of this and say, God's going to send me your money, you'll get rich type thing. But God blesses and blesses faithfulness. Okay? Some people think God's going to bless a single act of obedience. And sometimes he does, but often God blesses a lifetime of surrender. The people that are always doing what they're supposed to do, always standing for right, God says, I'll bless them. All right. Maybe the promotion at work. Let's see. In Charlie's case, it'd be making principal, and he said, no, I don't want that. I like the pay increase, but I don't want to over those other people. I don't want to be over all those kids, But oftentimes, the person who stands for what's right, God says, I'll give you another opportunity to stand. I'm going to put you under a spotlight in front of more people. So I'm going to give you this promotion. Daniel got it. Joseph got it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In this last verse, the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to the province of Babylon. He moved them up a step. Okay? Any questions? Who's your best friend? Spouse? Who's next? Michelle says Jesus. When her hand went up like this, though, she had 3 fingers pointing at Charlie. So I don't know if it's okay. Questions, comments? Let's Thank you, Lord, for loving us. Help us be the Christians we want to be. Help us be the person that stands there. We can depend on us. Forgive us where we fail you and we come short. Every one of us is still sinful. And we know sometimes we're supposed to be doing something, but we don't. We know we're not supposed to do something. We'll go ahead and do it anyway. We'll get in trouble. But you've always stood with us. And you've always taken care of us. And we're thankful for it. We're grateful for it. And we're grateful for those people that you put in our path that have stood beside us when we needed help, or just showed up when we needed somebody to be there beside us. We need flesh to stand beside us. So thank for our spouse, and thank for our children, thank for our church family, and those that you've given us in our lifetime. I pray you'll help us to be what we're supposed to be the friend that everyone can depend on. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. You are dismissed.